The Galactic Command Council chamber shimmered with polished chrome and deep space glass, a sprawling amphitheater where delegates from 100 star systems gathered to discuss matters of conquest and expansion. The air hummed with smug confidence. They were here to laugh, and laugh they did. On the central dais, holographic footage played on a loop, grainy, flickering images of humans in battered camo fatigues, dragging themselves through dense alien jungle. The sniper unit, Earth's so-called finest, retreated in ragged lines as quad-legged drones and plasma artillery rained blue fire around them. "Pathetic," snorted Admiral Lexwitor, his voice oily and sharp, like knives clinking together. His mandibles clicked in amusement as his 8 eyes blinked in unison. Bipeds with slug throwers? They still use combustion-based projectiles. How quaint. They're not even armored, added high strategist Gorath. The tall, serpentine alien waved a translucent claw. They march on feet, not grab discs. No exosuits. No neural sync weaponry. It's like watching a presentient herd. The laughter rippled outward. Tentacled dignitaries quivered with mirth. A gelatinous ambassador nearly lost cohesion in a ripple of delight. Only one voice hesitated. It came from a junior officer at the edge of the chamber, clutching a data pad in trembling claws. "Sirs, I believe there's a mistake in our assumptions." XY Tor's eyes swiveled toward him with predatory speed. "Speak, Ensign Creel. Quickly, before I tire of this interruption." Creel swallowed, his bioluminescent patches flickering nervously. "We've analyzed the human sniper squad's engagements. One of their soldiers, his kill ratio is anomalous. A hush fell, not total silence. There were still a few smug chuckles, but enough for Creel's word to hang in the recycled air. Anomalous? XY repeated, savoring the word. Do you mean high for primitive? Yes, sir. Exceptionally high. Out of 42 encounters, this single human has eliminated 212 of our troops. Alone. And his designation, Creel's voice faltered. Well, spit out, Creel. The ensign gulped. His comrades call him Ghost Reaper. The room's amusement curdled slightly. There was something in the name, primitive though it sounded, that made even the oldest admirals tilt their heads. Ghost Reaper? Exwator echoed, his mandibles clicking shut. Yes, sir. He seems to. Bah! Barked Gorath, slithering closer to the dais. Superstition. Humans are famous for their death cults. Skull insignias. Grim names. It's psychological bravado. Perhaps, Exwator mused, stroking his chin ridge. But if this one's ratio is so remarkable, we'll test it ourselves. The Admiral leaned toward a comm drone and barked an order. Deploy an elite strike team to Sector 7G. Flush out the stragglers. I want Ghost Reaper's head in a nutrient jar by dawn cycle. Yes, Admiral. The drone's mechanical voice chimed obediently before zipping off. Planet Moros, Jungle Sector 7G. Staff Sergeant Jack Reynolds lay flat on his stomach in the mud, peering through the scope of his battered M98 long rifle. He hadn't slept in 36 hours. His coffee thermos was empty, and now the mosquitoes, no, not mosquitoes, alien Skynets the size of his thumb, buzzed around his ears with the persistence of a bad pop song. He hummed Danger Zone under his breath, just loud enough to annoy himself. All right, Jack, he muttered. Just you, your rifle, and 500 tons of angry squid things. Through the scope, Reynolds watched a patrol of alien shock troopers slither through the dense undergrowth. Their armor gleamed like obsidian in the faint green light. He counted them. 1, 2, 15. Plasma rifles at the ready. Adorable, Reynolds whispered. He adjusted the rifle's sights, drawing a slow breath. At 1,200 meters, even the fancy alien armor wouldn't help them, not against 7.62 armor-piercing rounds. Eat your heart out, Clint Eastwood, he murmured, then squeezed the trigger. The first alien's head snapped back as a round punched through his faceplate. Reynolds cycled the bolt, lined up another, fired, and another, and another. Each shot precise, deliberate, deadly. Within 20 seconds, half the squad lay twitching in the mud. The survivors scattered. screaming in their alien tongue. "Run faster," Reynolds said conversationally, "or you'll miss your participation trophies." His earpiece crackled. A weak human voice came through. "Sarge, that you? We're pinned on the South Ridge. Need evac like yesterday." Reynolds grimaced. "Sit tight, Mac. I'm working on it." "By working, you mean—" Yeah. More shooting, less talking." Reynolds broke cover, darting between thick tree roots. His camo cloak blended with the jungle, rendering him nearly invisible. He knelt, rewired a proximity mine to a dead branch, and grinned. Let's see if Squid Boys like Home Alone reruns. Galactic Command Strike Team, moments later. Lieutenant Zrak of the elite Alpha Talons prided himself on his efficiency. No mission failures. No hesitation. Yet as his squad approached the clearing, a chill prickled his secondary carapace. "Keep sharp," Zrak hissed. "This is where they said he was last sighted." A soldier stepped forward, then yelped as a crude net of thorny vines shot upward, entangling him. "What?" A faint click. Boom. The jungle exploded with shrapnel and sound. "Ambush!" Zrak roared. "Take cover." Too late. Bullets whistled through the air, finding gaps in their armor. The squad scattered as chaos consumed the clearing. Somewhere in the trees, a voice drawled over their comms. "Knock, knock." Zrak froze. How? No human could hack their encrypted channel. "Who's there?" The voice continued, dripping with sarcasm. Zrak swallowed hard. "Identify yourself." The voice chuckled. "Ghost Reaper." And then another explosion tore through the squad. Galactic Council Chamber, simultaneously. A calm drone zipped back into the council chamber, its usual calm tone replaced by static-laced urgency. "Admiral HFY Tor, the strike team, it's been annihilated." "What?" HFY Tor's voice cracked like a whip. 17 Kia. 2 MIA. All from one human. The chamber went silent. No laughter this time. Creel looked up from his datapad, his bioluminescence pale. "Sir, the Ghost Reaper isn't just a sniper. He's hunting them." Admiral HFY Tor's eyes narrowed. "Send more troops." "Sir, with respect." "Send more troops." As the council muttered nervously, a single thought threaded through every alien mind. What kind of monster is this human? The jungle steamed like a living furnace, thick with alien spores and the acrid scent of scorched metal. Above the canopy, plumes of smoke curled into the perpetual gray sky, where the silhouette of a galactic gunship hovered like a predatory hawk. Its floodlights cut jagged holes in the darkness, sweeping the ground for any trace of movement. Staff Sergeant Jack Reynolds, caked in mud and blood and sarcasm, crouched behind the hollow trunk of a giant fungal tree. He reloaded his battered M98 with the slow, deliberate care of a man who knew he had no backup, no evac, and no intention of dying quietly. "All right, you glow-stick bastards," he murmured, racking the bolt with a metallic click-clack. Round 2. The jungle rustled. A faint vibration traveled through the roots beneath his boots. They were coming. He wiped sweat from his brow, leaving a streak of dirt across his face. His fingers traced the edge of the faded Top Gun patch on his shoulder, his personal talisman in this galaxy-wide bar fight. Danger Zone played faintly in his head. It always did when things got dicey. In the distance, alien voices hissed over encrypted comms. Alpha Talons reporting in. "Sector perimeter secured. We have thermal locks on the human target. Orders. Converge and neutralize," a voice replied coldly. "Admiral HFY Tor wants him alive if possible, but dead works too. Recover any data from his gear. Do not underestimate." The squad leader snorted derisively. "Underestimate? He's flesh and bone. We're armored." That was their first mistake. Reynolds moved like a shadow, slipping between fern-like fronds and massive roots. The Alpha Talons were fanning out, their obsidian armor glinting under searchlights. He counted 8 in the squad alone. Advanced plasma rifles, tactical drones hovering overhead, and exosuits that made them 10 feet tall. "Big guys in shiny pajamas," Reynolds whispered to himself. "Bet they paid extra for the deluxe edition." He reached into his pack and pulled out a small metal sphere. It was a jury-rigged EMP grenade cobbled together from scavenged alien tech and a gutted radio. He kissed it for luck, then lobbed it underhand into the clearing ahead. The sphere rolled between two troopers, blinking faintly before releasing a sharp wump of blue energy. EMP! One alien barked, but too late. Their drones fell from the air with metallic thuds. Armor HUDs flickered and died. In an instant, they were blind and deaf. And then the jungle erupted. A tripwire snapped. Spikes fashioned from sharpened alien wood slammed into the first soldier's chest plate, staggering him. A second wire triggered an old-fashioned claymore, sending a wave of shrapnel across the squad. Reynolds struck from the treeline. 3 shots, 3 kills. The first alien's head exploded in a mist of green ichor. The second dropped to its knees as a bullet punched through its visor. The third didn't even have time to scream. "Fall back!" screeched the squad leader, his voice raw with panic. "Can't. Movement sensors are down. Use your ears, damn you." But the jungle was alive with sound. Insects screeched. Water dripped. Branches creaked. And underneath it all, a human voice crackled over their comms. "Boo." They froze. "Who?" "Ghost Reaper," Reynolds said with casual venom. "Hope you brought clean underwear." A plasma bolt tore through the undergrowth where he'd been moments before. Reynolds rolled behind a mossy boulder and fired back, his rifle barking like thunder. The squad scattered, firing wildly into the trees. One alien tripped a snare and was yanked screaming into the canopy. Another stumbled over a pitfall lined with jagged stakes. In under 5 minutes, 8 elite soldiers were reduced to 2. The survivors pressed their backs together, spinning in circles. "Where is he?" "I don't know. He's everywhere." "No. I'm right here," Reynolds' voice whispered from the gloom. A single shot cracked. One alien slumped forward, dead before he hit the ground. The last soldier trembled violently, his claws clutching his rifle. "Don't come any closer. Stay back." Funny thing, Reynolds drawled as he stepped from the shadows, rifle leveled. "You lot came all the way across the galaxy to kill a bunch of overgrown monkeys with pop guns. And yet here you are, shaking like a leaf. Why, you're insane." "Yeah," Reynolds admitted, grinning like a wolf. "But I'm good at it." The shot rang out. The alien dropped, lifeless. High above, the Galactic Command gunship recorded everything. Admiral HFY watched the carnage unfold on his tactical display. His mandibles clicked in disbelief. "Impossible," he murmured. "One human cannot defeat an Alpha Talon squad. This is an aberration." Creel, the junior officer, spoke up softly. "Sir, it's not aberration. It's adaptation. He's using the environment, their psychology, even their tech against them." "Then we'll send more troops," barked HFY. "We'll flood that jungle until there's nowhere left to hide." "Sir." Creel hesitated, bioluminescent patches flickering nervously. "If one human can do this, what happens if Earth sends more?" HFY froze, his 8 eyes narrowing. "Earth is no more like him. This Ghost Reaper, he's an outlier." But doubt had crept in. He felt like a hairline fracture in his confidence. On Moros, Reynolds knelt in the dirt, reloading his rifle. The air was thick with ozone and death. He stared at the spent casing scattered around him, then up at the alien gunship hovering just out of range. "Go on," he muttered. "Send more." As he spoke, his helmet comm picked up a faint signal. A familiar voice, Corporal Max, broke through the static. "Sarge, please tell me you're still breathing. We've got wounded. Can't hold out much longer." Reynolds' jaw tightened. He slung his rifle over his shoulder and checked his last few mags. "Hang on, Mac. Daddy's bringing the pain." He stood and walked deeper into the jungle, leaving behind the broken remains of the Alpha Talon squad. Above, the gunship adjusted its course. More dropships streaked through the sky, their engines screaming. Reynolds didn't look up. He just smirked. Round 3. And somewhere in the stars, 1,000 alien commanders felt a chill run through their spines. The night sky over planet Moros seethed with descending fire. Dropships rained from the stratosphere in formation, thrusters howling like ancient gods of war. Their bellies opened mid-flight, spilling armored soldiers, crawler tanks, and orbit-deployed mech suits into humid air like a metallic plague. The jungle shuddered as the largest military deployment in Galactic Command's recent history began its final sweep. The directive was clear. Find and terminate the human sniper known only as Ghost Reaper. Alive was no longer a priority. Admiral HFY Tor stood on the observation deck of his dreadnought, knuckles pressed against a reinforced view panel. He watched the feed from 1,000 angles, infrared, motion-locked, gravimetrics, none of which had caught more than fleeting glimpses of target. How is he still alive? He asked no one, voice low, fraying at the edges. Behind him, Ensign Creel hesitated. Sir, with respect, we've thrown everything at him short of planetary sterilization. Then perhaps that's next, HFY Tor growled. But I want that sniper's corpse before this becomes a religion. Too late. Across the galaxy, alien civilians huddled around projection globes and data feeds watching shaky helmet cam footage of a lone human soldier toppling squad after squad, booby-trapping trees, sprinting through fire, and surviving odds that made even hardened warriors recoil. They shared memes. Ghost Reaper action figures were being bootlegged on 4 planets. On Trotha 9, an underground punk band named itself Boomstick Messiah and played only static-drenched remixes of human war sounds. The myth was outpacing the man, and the man was running out of time. Jack Reynolds crouched in the ruins of an abandoned alien outpost, once a research site before the jungle consumed it. Moss covered the consoles. Glowing fungal vines pulsed faintly along the ceiling. He stripped his rifle, reassembled it blindfolded, then unfolded a crude paper map, now torn and stained with blood. Corporal Mac's last signal had originated from the southern ridge. That was 2 clicks away, through occupied territory. His legs ached. His side throbbed from a glancing hit. He was down to 3 mags, 1 explosive charge, and an unhealthy level of caffeine withdrawal. But he wasn't dead, and that, apparently, was a problem. He chewed a stick of gum slowly, staring at the flashing enemy markers on his stolen tactical HUD. All right, he said softly. Let's make this stupid. He shoved his gear into a weathered duffel, grabbed a flare gun, and tied a string of soda cans to the back of his belt. Somewhere, someone had to be watching. The jungle exploded in confusion 10 minutes later, when Reynolds marched directly into a patrol of 30 alien soldiers and fired a flare gun into the air. Hey, they're ugly, he shouted, breaking into a run. Come and get your daily cardio. The flare burst overhead in a brilliant crimson bloom. Every soldier in range swiveled toward him, startled. One fired a panic shot that missed by meters. Reynolds sprinted through the trees, cans clattering, deliberately triggering every sound sensor in the region. A full armor platoon gave chase. Above them, captured alien drones, now reprogrammed, projected holograms of Reynolds running in other directions, sowing chaos. He led them through a narrow gorge, and as they reached the center, the earth dropped beneath their feet. Explosives planted 2 days earlier shattered the canyon walls. Boulders the size of small shuttles cascaded down, crushing half the company. The others scattered as trees ignited, set ablaze by thermite cocktails wired to pressure plates. Reynolds waited on the ridge above, watching through binoculars. He muttered a low whistle. Rock slide, baby, he said. Still works in space. He moved again, relentless, on the dreadnought. HFY Tor was screaming. He is not human. No, sir, Creel said numbly. He's worse. Why do our troops keep falling for his traps? Because, sir, Creel said carefully, they were trained to fight wars. He's playing pranks. What? Sir, the last squad was taken out by a dummy corpse made of moss and helmet paint. It had a speaker rigged to scream an alien. The Admiral trembled with rage. You're telling me one under-evolved mammal is conducting a psychological war with hand puppets? He also hacked our propaganda channel, sir. What did he send? Creel swallowed. A looping video of himself eating a sandwich, with the caption, "You lose again, squid heads." There was a long silence. Then HFY Tor whispered, Fire the orbital railgun. I don't care if it cracks the crust. End this. Reynolds saw the sky burn before he heard the sonic boom. The jungle lit up with white fire as the railgun's beams sighed down from orbit, vaporizing trees, rocks, and unfortunate wildlife in a column 2 miles wide. He hit the ground hard as the shockwave rolled over him. Leaves and ash fluttered down like snow. He coughed and rolled over, ears ringing. The side of the ridge had been obliterated. The jungle was now a smoldering crater. Overkill, he muttered. Classic villain move. But he was still breathing, and now they'd given him the perfect opening. While the Admiral gloated over the destruction, Reynolds climbed to the sewer tunnels of a long-abandoned alien mining complex. He emerged behind the forward command outpost the Galactic troops had set up just hours earlier. He surveyed the scene, command tents, supply crates, communication arrays. Perfect. He slipped inside, silent as dusk, and placed his final charge beneath the primary transmitter. Then he wired to a timer, left a handwritten note in English duct taped to the control panel. BRB. Love, Ghosty, and vanished. He was already gone when the base exploded. Alien forces panicked. Some blamed sabotage. Others blamed internal dissidents. Some, those who had seen too much, blamed the Ghost Reaper and refused to patrol alone. A soldier on the northern front tried to surrender to a scarecrow made of camo and helmets. The Dreadnought's comms officer received 5 simultaneous distress calls. And in the middle of it all, the Ghost Reaper's voice echoed again across open frequencies. Still alive, still bored. Later, as dusk fell and the wounded lay scattered in makeshift triage zones, Reynolds finally reached the southern ridge. He found Corporal Mac under a collapsed tree branch, leg crushed but still conscious. Jesus, Mac, Reynolds said, crouching beside him. I told you to duck. Mac grinned, teeth bloodied. Tried. Tree had other ideas. Let's get you out of here. As Reynolds lifted him onto a stretcher made from alien netting, Mac asked, Did you really take down an orbital relay? Reynolds shrugged. Might have tripped on something. You know how I am. In the distance, more dropships landed, but the jungle no longer welcomed them. It whispered. It remembered. And high above, in a darkened war room, Admiral Exwator watched a single grainy feed, a blurry shape moving through the trees with impossible precision. A voice rang out over the speakers, low and steady. Ghost Reaper out. And then the feed went black. The stars burned cold and distant as the Galactic fleet limped into orbit above planet Moros. Fire still raged in the jungles below, visible from space as pulsing veins of orange light. Dropships, scorched and battered, staggered back to their carriers. Half of them returned empty. The rest carried wounded soldiers who stared into the middle distance, murmuring a single name like a curse. Ghost Reaper, on the bridge of the Dreadnought Oblivion's hand. Admiral Exwator stood motionless, his 4 hands clasped tightly behind his back. His 8 eyes were sunken, his mandibles grinding as he replayed the last transmission over and over. The human's voice had been calm, almost amused. Ghost Reaper out. Then the jungle had erupted into fire. The command outpost gone. The forward units scattered. Sir, said Ensign Creel, stepping carefully into the Admiral's field of vision, bioluminescent patches dimmed in deference. We've lost 30% of our ground forces. The remaining troops refuse to redeploy without additional air support. Morale is compromised. Exwator's gaze snapped to Creel with the force of a plasma bolt. Compromised? The Admiral hissed. We are the apex species of this galaxy. Our fleets have toppled civilizations older than their sun. One primitive predator with a projectile weapon does not compromise us. Creel hesitated. Respectfully, sir, it's not just a weapon. It's him. He's turned the jungle into an extension of himself. Every soldier who survives claims he isn't just fighting them, he's hunting them. Exwator waved the comment away. Superstition. Soldiers can cocktails to excuse their failures. Sir, the stories are spreading off-world. Already there are rumors circulating on the core networks. Entire colonies are broadcasting his exploits like entertainment. The Admiral's mandibles tightened. Then we suppress the stories. That may not be possible, sir. Alien youths are uploading parody vids. There's a song. A song. Yes, sir. Reaper in the trees. It's trending. For the first time in his long career, XY Tor felt something unfamiliar coiling in his gut. Not anger. Not disdain. Something colder. Fear. On Morrows, Staff Sergeant Jack Reynolds crouched at the edge of a ravine, peering through binoculars at the burning wreckage of the latest alien dropship. Its once sleek hull was now a twisted mass of metal, half submerged in mud. He took a long pull from his canteen and grimaced. The water tasted like sulfur, but it would have to do. He was down to 2 protein bars, half a clip of ammo, and whatever jury-rigged explosives he could build from alien debris. Corporal Mack lay nearby on a makeshift stretcher, leg bound tightly with salvage and bandages. He was pale but conscious. "You look like hell, Sarge," Mack croaked. "You should see the other guys," Reynolds said, a tired grin tugging at his lips. "They're saying your name on alien channels," Mack murmured. "You're some kind of boogeyman to them now." "Good," Reynolds replied simply. "Maybe they'll think twice before dropping another army on my lawn." "Do we even have a lawn?" Mack asked, chuckling weakly. Reynolds rose, slinging his rifle over his shoulder. "We've got dirt and trees." "Close enough." A distant rumble echoed through the valley. More ships inbound. "They're not done yet," Reynolds muttered. "But neither am I." Across the galaxy, the myth of Ghost Reaper metastasized. On Gareth Prime, alien children played a new game. One posed as a sniper, while the others pretended to be soldiers running and tripping over improvised traps. On Vela Station, merchants hawked counterfeit Reaper cloaks guaranteed to make wearers invisible to enemy scanners. They did not. And in backroom strategy meetings aboard flagships, seasoned commanders spoke of Reynolds in hushed tones. He has no air support, no orbital cover, no reinforcements. And he's winning. The Council of Admirals convened an emergency session, their voices sharp with disbelief. "We are Galactic Command," cried High Strategist Gorath, coils lashing the marble floor. "We will not be mocked by a single mammal in filthy cloth." "Then why have we killed him?" countered an insectoid general. "We've thrown everything at him, shock troops, hunters, war mechs, and still he eludes us." "Perhaps it is time," said a cold voice in the shadows, "to consider retreat." Gasps rippled through the chamber. XY Tor stepped forward. His carapace gleamed in the dim light, but cracks showed at the edges. "If we leave now, the myth will grow stronger. Every species in this galaxy will believe humans are invincible. We cannot allow that." Silence. "Then what do you propose?" asked Gorath. "We send the executioner." The chamber went still. Even Creel's bioluminescence dimmed to nothing. "You mean the orbital sterilizer?" "Yes." XY Tor's mandible spread in a cruel facsimile of a smile. "We glass the planet. No trees, no sniper, no myth. And if the humans respond?" Creel asked softly. "Let them. Earth is insignificant." But deep inside, even XY Tor wondered if he was speaking truth or comforting himself. Reynolds watched the night sky flicker as a massive structure aligned in orbit. His stolen HUD struggled to make sense of the readings. "Sterilizer platform," he whispered. "They're going to glass the whole damn planet." Mack coughed. "We're screwed, huh?" Reynolds didn't answer. He stared at the stars for a long moment, then pulled a battered Earth coin from his pocket. It was dented, tarnished, and utterly useless. But it reminded him of home. He flipped it once, caught it, and slipped it back into his pocket. "Not yet." He set to work, moving with the focus of a man who built his entire life on impossible odds. When the sterilizer's main cannon charged, a strange signal jammed its targeting systems. A human voice, faint but clear, played across every frequency. "Hey there, squidheads. Miss me?" Panic erupted aboard the platform. "Sir, he's here." "Impossible. There's no human on this vessel." An explosion rocked the sterilizer's core. Flames engulfed the control room. Alien officers screamed as alarms howled. Through the smoke, a single phrase scrawled in human script appeared on the main display. "One shot. One kill." In the Galactic Council chamber, XY Tor stared at the incoming report. His claws trembled. The sterilizer, it's gone. No one spoke. Creel's voice broke the silence. Sir, they say he's still alive. Where? HFY Tor croaked. They don't know. They're calling him the apex predator. Weeks later, on a dusty backwater bar in New Montana, a man in a faded jacket sat nursing a cheap beer. His boots were worn. His eyes were sharp. The hollow screen above the bar flickered with alien news anchors, reporting the retreat of Galactic forces from Moros. Reynolds smirked and sipped his drink. Guess they finally learned, he murmured. Don't poke the bear. His comm device buzzed faintly. A voice crackled through. Ghost Reaper? We've got another problem. You in? Reynolds set the beer down, eyes narrowing. Always. He stood, slung his rifle over his shoulder, and walked into the rising sun. And across the galaxy, the legend grew.